on Diplomatic Insight. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, received the British monarchy's highest level of diplomatic honor as the crown host at Windsor Castle. Nigeria pushes for deeper African-Latin American ties at CELAC Forum in Colombia. Hello and welcome to Diplomatic Insight. I am Oyebola. Welcome back. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, joined by the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, at the request of a royal invitation, paid a historic state visit to the United Kingdom, meeting with His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla. This diplomatic honor marks the first Nigerian state visit to the UK in almost 4 decades, and signaling a new height of deepened Nigeria-UK bilateral relations.
Nigerian trained doctors are among the largest group of international medical professionals serving the NHS. Rugby players such as Mario Toje, footballers including Bukayo Saka, Eberechi Eze, and champion boxer Anthony Joshua illustrate the remarkable human connection that links Nigeria and the United Kingdom. Our partnership is further strengthened through the Commonwealth of Nations, which connects 56 countries under Your Majesty's leadership. Thank you very much for all you've been doing for us. We discussed at length earlier on today the essence of bringing over 2.7 billion people together and removing trade barriers. As one of the largest nations within the Commonwealth, Nigeria looks forward to contributing constructively to the continued growth and vitality of this global community. However, our West African region faces complex terrorism challenges with roots in Sahel. Nigeria comes with an enormous responsibility to help safeguard regional stability. In confronting these threats, partnership with the United Kingdom remains essential, and I look forward to meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer tomorrow. Despite these challenges, Nigeria approaches the future with hope and confidence. We are a nation of diverse and vibrant people, of young people dreaming big, of entrepreneurs with a global outlook, and a hopeful people determined to realize their full potential, as I promised. Your Majesty, I am confident that the friendship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom will continue to grow stronger and better beyond jollof rice. Finally, Your Majesty, I want to express Nigeria's deep gratitude to the great nation, this great nation, for the refuge and support extended during the dark years of military dictatorship. Like many Nigerians involved in pro-democracy struggle, I find safety here, and I recall that my residence was placed under Metropolitan Police surveillance for protection following threats from agents of the junta. I thank you very much once again. That solidarity remains etched in our collective memory, and it is deeply humbling for me to stand here before you, Your Majesty, today as the President of Democratic Nigeria. On behalf of the government and the good people of Nigeria, I thank Your Majesty, Her Majesty the Queen, Prince William and Catherine, and Princess of Wales, other members of royal family, and the people of the United Kingdom for their long-standing friendship. Nigeria will not carry last. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, in the spirit of that friendship and our shared destiny, I invite you all to raise a glass with me. To the special bond between Nigeria and United Kingdom, and to the bright future that we shall build together. God bless His Majesty, the King. God bless Nigeria. God bless United Kingdom. And thank you very much.
Of Eid al-Fitr in Nigeria and across the world, I can only wish you and the millions of Muslims in our countries Eid Mubarak. And in doing so, let me propose a toast to the President and people of Nigeria. Niger no day carry last.
Hosted at the Windsor Castle by the British Crown is the fourth of such honor to be accorded to a Nigerian leader since independence in 1960. In 1973, General Yakubu Gowon was hosted on a state visit by Queen Elizabeth II at Buckingham Palace. While in 1981, President Shehu Shagari was the first civilian leader to make a full state visit hosted by the British sovereign. General Ibrahim Babangida in 1989 was the last military head of state to make a state visit before 2026. President Tinubu's landmark state visit has economic, diplomatic, and cultural significance. The president met with the UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer at Downing Street, where the two countries had agreed on a deal to renovate and modernize Apapa and Tinkan Island ports in Lagos worth £746 million.
Let me say a few words by way of welcome to Downing Street, and thank you for coming here today on what is a historic state visit, the first inward state visit for 37 years. And it was very good, which His Majesty the King hosted us all last night for a most enjoyable dinner with you and your delegation. And it is really good to have you here today. The long and shared history between our countries is obvious and much valued by us, as is the people-to-people contact and engagement that we have and that enriches our lives here in the United Kingdom, as His Majesty the King mentioned in his speech last night. We have a lot of work that we already do on the economy, on defence and security, but today is the opportunity to take that to another level.
We need to nurture the trade agreements, stimulate more economic relationship that will build out two nations and Nigeria is currently going through a very strong reform of the economy, and other than the volatility that we are, well, we will discuss that further in our bilateral discussions. What we are facing is not a small challenge. Currently, the entire world is challenged. And Nigeria is not immune, so is Britain is not immune. I've seen your reaction on television, just watching things as they develop. My concern is, as you rightly said, the economic and the welfare of the people, and how we should work together to improve the livelihood, means of mitigating the economic volatility that is coming. And currently we are challenged in being the largest city in the West Africa, country in the West Africa region, and on the continent. We are challenged by terrorism and the coming from the Zaire and the conflict of climate change, all of that. We will be able to discuss it in our bilateral relationship and see what Britain can do to accelerate the friendship, partnership, and the collaboration.
Guests, it's a privilege to be here today as we strengthen the partnership between the United Kingdom and Nigeria. My apologies on behalf of Peter Kyle, Secretary of State. He has been called to Parliament at the last minute to make a statement with regards to steel, something not unconnected with what we're here to discuss and agree today. UK Export Finance is the UK's export credit agency. It helps the UK and its businesses win and deliver export contracts, and it supports partner countries to access UK goods and services for priority development and infrastructure projects. This Memorandum of Understanding is an important step. It's non-binding, but it sets out a shared direction. Nigeria's priority projects and UK Export Finance's readiness to work with you to develop a strong pipeline subject to due diligence, value for money, and the right standards. This is about practical cooperation that benefits both our countries, supporting growth, jobs and trade, while helping deliver resilient, modern infrastructure. And I look forward to the work ahead. Thank you so much.
Enable faster execution of priority infrastructure projects such as this, and of course, help to position Nigeria with what it should be, a regional hub for trade. Let me briefly also talk about the MOU, which is establishing a clear framework for deeper collaboration. Up to 9 transactions have already been identified in the health sector, in the provision of infrastructure for the security services, major highways that will open up the country and open up the economy, including the agricultural sector. So this MOU does focus on infrastructure, on energy, and industrial development, which of course is the key at this stage for Nigeria to grow its industries, take advantage of the new bilateralism that is now what is being emphasized the world over compared to multilateralism. And of course, that will bring the investments that will grow the economy, create jobs, and lift people out of poverty in their millions, which is the overall aim of the macroeconomic agenda, what we call the Renewed Hope Agenda and Action Plan of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So This MOU aligns with our goal to mobilize investment, mobilize capital at scale, I would say. And for our UK partners, of course, it creates a stronger pipeline of bankable transactions that UKEF can look at and readily support. And it also expands the role for UK companies to participate and benefit from Nigeria's growth. So our key message is that we are moving from reform to investment to growth. Finally, let me say that these agreements reflect a shared and deep common trust. We have a common history, and we're now looking at investments at scale based on that trust and the commitment to deliver tangible economic outcomes, both for Nigeria and for the United Kingdom.
Nigeria and the UK also signed 3 major memorandums of understanding MOUs covering migration partnership, organized immigration crime and border security, and expanded business visas for UK firms operating in Nigeria. The MOU provides detailed arrangements for the dignified return and reintegration of Nigerians who do not have legal rights to remain in the United Kingdom. The agreement covers the use of secure travel documentation, case-by-case identity travel verification, and safeguards for vulnerable individuals and potential victims of trafficking. According to the Interior Minister, Oluremi Tinubu, the agreements reflect Nigeria's push for a transparent, rule-based migration system that is safe, orderly, and mutually beneficial, while tackling abuse of legal pathways and strengthening border control. It mentioned that the deals will boost trade, ease mobility for businesses, and support Nigeria's drive toward a $1 trillion economy under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, removing barriers linked to irregular migration. On the sidelines of the visit, Minister of Defense Christopher Musa met with Vernon Coker, the British Minister of State for Defense, for a high-level meeting on defense partnership between Nigeria and the UK, focusing on strengthening strategic defense partnerships. Welcome back. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Maitama-Tuga, has called for stronger economic, cultural, and strategic cooperation between Africa and Latin America as he addressed leaders at the CELAC Africa High-Level Forum in Bogotá. Speaking on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Tuga described the gathering as a critical platform for advancing dialogue and partnership between regions of the Global South. He commended Colombian President Gustavo Petro for convening the forum, noting that it comes at a time of growing global uncertainty marked by conflicts and shifting geopolitical dynamics. The minister warned that global conflicts, regardless of geographical distance, carry real consequences for developing nations. He urged participating countries to take collective responsibility in shaping outcomes that mitigate global risks and promote shared stability. Tuga emphasized that Africa and Latin America must work together to redefine their place in a changing international order, which he described as increasingly fragmented and unequal. He called for a united voice among Global South nations to advocate for fairer systems and more effective partnerships. Highlighting Nigeria's priorities, the minister identified key areas for collaboration, including education, energy, agriculture, solid minerals, and technology. He stressed the importance of leveraging innovation and ensuring inclusion in emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, adding that Africa and Latin America must not be ignored again in global technological advancements. He also reaffirmed Nigeria's long-standing commitment to international cooperation, referencing the country's Technical Aid Corps program, which has deployed skilled professionals to Caribbean nations since 1987. According to him, Nigeria is ready to expand cooperation with CELAC countries across trade, health, culture, and climate resilience. On economic cooperation, Tuga pointed to Nigeria's position as Africa's largest market and highlighted opportunities for investment, particularly in agriculture and agro-processing. He noted that Nigeria is working toward food self-sufficiency supported by policies that empower farmers and boost fertilizer production, expected to reach 6.5 million tons this year. The minister further underscored the role of culture and creative industries in strengthening ties between both regions, calling for expanded collaboration in arts, education, digital innovation, and intellectual property. Addressing global challenges, Tuga called for joint efforts to tackle climate change, improve healthcare access, and promote technology transfer to developing countries. He also reiterated Nigeria's position on the repatriation of illicit financial flows and renewed calls for historical reparations, referencing the legacy of slavery and colonialism. In his closing remarks, Tuga urged leaders to seize the opportunity presented by the forum to reshape inter-regional relations and unlock economic potential for mutual prosperity. The CELAC African High-Level Forum brings together leaders and representatives from Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa to deepen cooperation across political, economic, and cultural domains. That's all for today on Diplomatic Insight. Thank you for watching and see you next week for another interesting episode. Stay informed.